If it is a little too much, then you may want to decrease the volume a bit down so that you can kind of like nullify it a bit. Okay, so now this is a simple and compound interest. This is the first lesson of the personal finance, and this can be very interesting because this is related to your real life. It's about money, all right? Now there are a couple of things that, well, not a couple of things, there are a few things that you need to know in terms of the terms, in terms of the definition that we're going to be using. So the first thing is this: annually or yearly. That means that if it is compounded annually or compounded yearly, your interest only occurs once a year. If it is semi-annually, then it is twice a year or 6 months. Quarterly means once per a quarter of a year, which is 3 months or 4 times a year. Monthly is once per month or 12 times a year. Semi-monthly, now this can be a little tricky with the next one, okay, so pay attention to this. Semi-monthly means twice per month, okay, so not every 2 weeks. Remember, each month is not 4 weeks. Each month is 30 days or 31 days, right? So it's twice a month. So that means it is 24 times a year because there are 12 months a year, and then there are twice that's happening per month. And then bi-weekly seems the same, but it means once per every 2 weeks. Now remember that there are 52 weeks per year, and then it's every 2 weeks, so then we divide it by 2, that is 26 times, okay? So the semi-monthly, bi-weekly, they are different. Semi-monthly is just twice per month, whereas bi-weekly is every 2 weeks. Now then weekly is once per every week, or 52 times a year. Daily means obviously once per day, and 365 times a year. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at is the simple interest. Now, simple interest is something that is not really used in real life. There's a reason to it, and you're going to actually figure that out soon. So what simple interest is, that the interest amount is determined by interest rate per period multiplied by the total period. So what it means is that whatever the money that you have, as you can see over here, the initial money, if you put into that, if it is a simple interest calculation, all the interest rate will be calculated based on the initial amount that you put in. So it doesn't really matter how much it grows to the year 1, how much it grows to the year 2, how much it grows to the year 3. It will only be applied to your initial amount money, which is the principal amount, okay? So there are formulas. Oh, one thing. I put maturity here. That means maturity date, which is the withdrawal date. Okay? Withdrawal date. Now, then there are formulas. So the first formula is I equals PRT, and A is I plus P. Now, I put the definition of each. So I means the interest amount, meaning interest dollar amount, not the interest rate amount. P is the principal, R is the rate. So remember that I is the interest money amount, R is the rate, so that's the percent. Then T is the time, or the number of interest periods. Then A is the total amount, I is the interest, so then P is the principal. So it kind of makes sense, right? If you add the interest amount with the principal, it becomes the total amount that you're going to get. So an example is this. So for 10 years, Iron Man saved his $1 million in an investment account that gives 5% per year. If he decides to withdraw the money after, obviously, that 10 years, how much is it going to be? So then your interest amount will be 1 million. So there will be 6 zeros times R, which is the rate. In this case, is 5%. So it has to be in decimal, right? Not in a percentage. Then times number of years in this case, that's because it is 5% per year, right? So every year it is 5%, and that is happening how many times? 10 times. That's because it is 10 years. Now then, using this, do your calculation, and that becomes, I don't know, this becomes 500,000, I assume. So let's actually pull out my calculator, and let's see what happens. So, according to my calculator, it says 5 million, I assume. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 0.05 times 10. So that gives me, yes, 500,000. So after 10 years, his interest is 500,000. So then total money will be A equals 500,000 plus 1 million, and that gives 1.5 million, right? So money literally makes money a lot quicker than a human does. Now then, example second, now Mr. has saved his one-time saving of 5 million, I wish I had, which was kindly donated by his students into an investment account which yields 3% quarterly. So that means 3% will be accumulated every let's say 3 months. Now the investment will be withdrawn after 10 years. How much will he get for the total amount at the end of the term? So then the first interest amount that we have to calculate, now he has the principal amount of $5 million, thanks to you guys. And then the interest rate is 0.03. Now, but it says quarterly, it's accumulating every quarter, which is 4 times a year. So then it says 10 years, but it's a 4 times a year because it's a quarterly, because of the quarterly, right? Because of the quarterly. So then this is $5 million times 0.03 times 40. Now, I have no idea what this becomes, so let's actually calculate. This is kind of happy thought, I believe. I'll say it gives me $6 million if I calculate it properly. So, can you believe this? If I get 3% of interest every 3 months for 10 years, my $5 million will give me $6 million of the interest. So your total amount then becomes 5 million plus 6 million. I'll just put M, getting tired of putting all the zeros. So I get then $11 million. Isn't that crazy? Ridiculous? But it happens. If you have a lot of money, it actually makes money a lot quicker. That's actually sadly real life.